What if the fear you've been carrying all your life was never just in your mind, but buried in a single point inside your body? Think about it. Fear does not only whisper in your thoughts, it tightens your chest, knots your stomach, steals your breath. You've felt it before. That sinking heaviness before making a decision, the invisible weight before speaking up, the sudden freeze when life demands courage. We think it is mental. But what if the body has been holding it for years, silently, just beneath your awareness? Most people never stop to ask, where does fear go when I don't express it? Does it vanish? Or does it bury itself somewhere deeper, waiting to surface again? Take a slow breath right now and notice, is there tension sitting in your stomach just above your navel? That place you rarely pay attention to? Ancient traditions called it the solar plexus, the hidden sun within you. And in that sun, fear hides like a shadow. Before we go deeper, I want to know something. Tell me in the comments, from where in the world are you watching this video right now? Share your place, your city, your country, because energy connects us across distance. You may be sitting in your room, but the moment you answer, you are part of this circle of awakening. Now, here is the mystery. There is a single point just above your navel, a spot that ancient masters guarded like a sacred fire. They believed it was the gateway to courage, transformation, and hidden strength. Modern science has quietly confirmed that this region holds one of the body's most powerful nerve networks, linked directly to your emotions, your digestion, and even your brain's perception of fear. Most of us spend a lifetime fighting fear in our minds through endless thoughts, affirmations, or even denial, never realizing the truth. Fear does not only live in the mind, it lives in the body. And this is why, no matter how hard you think your way out of fear, it keeps returning. But when you learn to touch this hidden point, something remarkable happens. The body softens, the breath deepens, the nervous system shifts. What seemed like years of weight begins to dissolve, not through force, but through release. Imagine this. You press gently into this point. You breathe slowly, and suddenly a warmth spreads through your chest. The shadow of fear melts into light, and for a moment you realize the strength you've been searching for was never lost. It was always waiting here, in the center of your body. That is the journey we are about to begin together. By the time this video ends, you will not only understand where fear hides, you will know how to release it with your own hands. This is not just information. It is a practice, a key, a remembering of what your ancestors knew long before modern science gave it a name. So pause for a moment. If something inside you already feels drawn to this, trust it. Whisper a quiet yes to yourself. And as you do, let that yes become your first step. Tap subscribe to join this path, like this video if your heart stirs even slightly, and share it as a gift of awakening for others. Welcome to the Spine Gospel. Today, we touch the hidden fire within you. Have you ever felt that strange tightening just above your stomach when fear enters your life? It comes without warning, a job interview, an argument, a sudden silence in the night. The chest feels heavy, but the knot is lower, deeper, almost hidden. This is no random tension. It is a doorway. A secret place where the body keeps the memories the mind cannot process. And if you listen closely, that place is whispering even now. This point just above the navel is known as the solar plexus. In spiritual traditions, it is often called the Manipura chakra, the city of jewels, the inner sun that fuels our courage. It is not merely an idea, not a metaphor. It is a real, sensitive cluster of nerves, and it is the home where fear burrows in, hiding away until life forces it to surface. If you place your hand gently on your upper abdomen, midway between your navel and the base of your chest, you will feel the region where this point lives. It is warm, alive, and when fear strikes, it contracts. This is your center of gravity, the balance point from which your energy radiates outward. In martial traditions, this area is considered the core, the place of power and stability. In mystical traditions, it is seen as the hidden sun inside the body. When you are calm, this region feels open, light, and expansive. When you're afraid, it feels heavy, as if something invisible is weighing you down. That is why ancient seers identified this point as the seat of personal power. They saw that life's storms always strike here first. For yogis, the Manipura chakra was the center of transformation. They described it as a golden fire, burning away doubt and igniting courage. In their view, the flames of this inner sun could transmute fear into clarity and weakness into strength. The Egyptians believed the stomach held the fire of Ra, the divine sun energy. Taoist sages called it the middle field, the furnace that turns raw emotions into refined energy. Across cultures, this place was honored as sacred. But what happens when fear enters? Fear is like a dark cloud. It covers the inner sun, and suddenly everything feels uncertain. Your breath shortens, your posture collapses, and the light that should guide you dims. The ancients taught that touching, breathing, and focusing on this point could bring the fire back. They believed the body itself remembers how to heal if we only remember where to listen. Modern science, without realizing it, confirms much of this. The solar plexus is not just a poetic name, it is a real network of nerves located in your upper abdomen. This web of connections controls many organs and communicates directly with the brain. Have you noticed how stress can cause stomach pain, nausea, or tightness? That is the gut-brain axis at work. Neuroscientists now call the stomach our second brain because of the millions of neurons it holds. When fear arises, the brain sends signals that tighten this area, and the body responds instantly. The reverse is also true. Tension stored here can send fear signals back to the brain, creating a cycle that traps you in anxiety. So when ancient teachers spoke of this point as the seat of fear, they were not only being mystical, they were describing a living truth of human biology. Today, we live mostly in the mind. We read books on confidence, repeat affirmations, chase positive thoughts. But often the fear does not leave. Why? Because it does not live in the head alone. It hides in the body, in this exact point. Ancient masters knew this. They taught their students not only to think differently, but to touch, press, and breathe into the solar plexus. It was not just meditation of the mind, but liberation of the body. With time, these teachings were forgotten. Modern life celebrates intellect, but the body's wisdom was left behind, and so people search for peace while carrying a hidden knot inside them. The secret is simple. If you release the tension here, you release the fear everywhere. Have you noticed this in your own life? Do you feel your fear mostly in your chest, in your stomach, or only in your thoughts? Share your answer. You may discover that many others carry it in the same hidden place. But this raises a deeper question. How does the body store fear here? What makes this cluster of nerves so powerful that it can hold emotions like chains? To understand that, we must look closer at the nervous system itself and uncover the secret link between your gut and your brain. When we first touched the solar plexus in the previous section, we saw how it feels like a knot where hidden fear lives. But one question lingers. Why here? Why does the body choose this precise spot, just above the navel, to hold such powerful emotions? If you think back to the last time you felt truly afraid, did you notice where it struck you first? Did it show up as a tight chest, shaky breath, or that unmistakable sinking in your stomach? The truth is, this place has been chosen by nature itself as the crossroad between your emotions, your body and your spirit. Modern science calls this region a nerve hub, sometimes even the abdominal brain. This is the solar plexus, a dense bundle of nerves that connects your gut, lungs, and heart directly to your brain. Imagine it as a hidden command center, where fear is received, processed, and transmitted through the entire body. When the amygdala, the fear center in your brain, sends an alarm, the vagus nerve carries that alarm right here to your gut. That's why stress before an exam brings cramps, why heartbreak takes away appetite, why a lie makes the stomach churn before the mind can process it. This isn't imagination. It is the gut-brain axis in action. Your body does not just mirror fear, it remembers it. Some scientists now say your stomach knows the truth faster than your thoughts. Have you ever felt that your gut warned you long before your logic did? Ancient wisdom described this long before neuroscience had words for it. Yogis called this place Manipura, the fiery chakra that fuels willpower, courage, and transformation. Taoist masters described it as the middle furnace, where raw emotions are cooked into clarity and strength. In Sufi mysticism, this very region was seen as the seat of the nafs, the ego desires that must be purified before the heart can shine. What modern scanners show as neurons and electric impulses, ancient traditions saw as fire, as divine energy, as the very seat of human power. They were looking at the same truth through a different lens. So what happens when we bring these two perspectives together? Science tells us that pressing this point can calm the autonomic nervous system, shifting us from fight or flight into rest and digest. Spirit tells us that the same touch stirs an inner fire, awakening the courage that fear once suffocated. Imagine fear as smoke. Science describes its particles, molecules, and effects on the lungs. Spirit describes its shadows, its illusions, and how it clouds the vision. Both are correct, and both are incomplete without each other. When you place your hand on your solar plexus, you are not only settling your nerves, you are also declaring to your inner fire, awaken. But why is fear so strongly drawn here in the first place? Biologically, this is where fight or flight is anchored. The nerves contract, the stomach tightens, and blood flow shifts to prepare for action. Over time, if fear repeats, the muscles of the abdomen remain contracted, holding that tension like a fist that never unclenches. Spiritually, the story is even more symbolic. This is the center of willpower, and fear's greatest enemy is courage. So fear hides in the very place designed to destroy it, hoping you never learn the secret of unlocking it. Pause here for a moment. Place your palm gently over your solar plexus. Inhale slowly through your nose. As the breath expands, notice what rises beneath your hand. Do you feel warmth or a subtle resistance? Is there a sense of pressure or an unexpected ease? These sensations are not random. They are the whispers of your nervous system and your energy field combined. If you're comfortable, share in the comments below. Did your body feel open, or did it feel like a knot waiting to be released? Sometimes the act of noticing is the first doorway to release. And now, a deeper question arises. If this point carries so much wisdom, if it is both a scientific hub and a spiritual fire, what happens when fear is trapped here, not just for a moment, but for years, even decades? How does the body remember it? How does the spirit bend under it? And how do we begin to unbind it? This is the path we step onto next. We've seen that both science and spirit point toward the solar plexus as a hidden storehouse of fear. But a question remains. How does fear actually get locked into the body? Why does it not simply fade once the danger has passed? The truth is, your nervous system was designed to keep you alive. And in doing so, it sometimes traps experiences much longer than you expect. Fear begins in the amygdala, the almond-shaped structure in the brain that functions like an alarm bell. When it senses danger, it sends a powerful signal that floods the body with stress hormones, adrenaline and cortisol. In an instant, blood shifts away from digestion toward the muscles, breath shortens, and the body prepares to fight or flee. The abdomen tightens reflexively, forming an invisible shield to protect the most vital organs. This is the ancient survival instinct that has kept humans alive for thousands of years. Imagine it as the body-building armor in the blink of an eye. But what happens when the alarm doesn't stop ringing? The answer lies in the solar plexus itself. This is not just any region of the body. It is the largest bundle of nerves outside of the brain. It is where the vagus nerve, the great messenger between your brain and your gut, makes a powerful connection. Every time fear is triggered, electrical signals and hormonal cascades pass through this center. If the danger repeats often, stressful jobs, unresolved trauma, ongoing anxiety, this region begins to hold the imprint. The abdomen, meant to contract briefly and then release, forgets how to relax. Fear does not only visit, it settles here. Modern neuroscience calls this the gut-brain axis. Within your digestive system lives 500 million neurons, enough to earn it the name the second brain. These neurons don't just digest food, they sense and store emotion. When fear sparks in the brain, the gut responds instantly, and the gut in turn sends signals back. Over time, this two-way communication forms a loop, teaching cells to remember patterns. It is what some researchers now call cellular memory. That is why people with post-traumatic stress often feel their stomach tighten or churn before their mind recalls the event. The body remembers before the mind does. Have you noticed this in yourself? That sometimes your stomach knows the truth before your thoughts can explain it? This loop is the secret to fear's persistence. An anxious thought tightens the gut. The tight gut sends anxious signals back to the brain. The brain responds with more fearful thoughts, tightening the gut even further. It becomes an echo chamber where fear repeats itself endlessly. And because the solar plexus sits at the very center of this feedback system, it becomes the most affected, the most vulnerable. The long-term effects of this storage are not subtle. Physically, it shows up as indigestion, shallow breathing, even ulcers. Emotionally, it creates irritability, anxiety, and a feeling of being unsafe even when life is stable. Spiritually, it leaves you cut off from your own fire, as though your courage has been dimmed. Medicine now recognizes the gut as deeply connected to stress disorders. And ancient mystics, though they used different language, spoke of the very same thing. Yogis called it the blocked Manipura chakra. Taoist masters warned of stagnant energy in the middle furnace. Sufis described the ego hiding in the belly until it was purified. Separate traditions, one truth. Fear chooses this center, but here lies the hope. Just as science shows how fear gets trapped, it also shows how release is possible. Gentle pressure on the solar plexus stimulates the vagus nerve, shifting the nervous system from fight or flight into rest and digest. Deep, slow breathing lowers cortisol and allows abdominal muscles to finally let go. Over time, this retrains the nervous system, teaching it a new pattern, one of safety and release. The beauty of this is that it works even if you don't believe in chakras or energy. The body responds naturally because it is wired to heal when given the chance. Before moving forward, take a quiet moment with yourself. Notice your own body right now. Is your stomach relaxed, or does it carry a subtle tightness you hadn't noticed until this very moment? What is that tension telling you? Each person's body speaks a different language. Some feel knots, some warmth, some nothing at all. If you feel cold, share your answer in the comments. Where does fear live most often in you? Your chest, your belly, or your throat? Now we come to the deeper invitation. If fear can lodge itself in the body, and if the solar plexus is the key to unlocking it, then the question is not only why, but also how. How do we touch this place in a way that loosens the knots of years? How do we breathe, press, and focus to awaken the fire hidden underneath? The answer is not in theory, it is in practice. And that is exactly what we step into next. What if I told you that the very place where science today locates the fire of your fears was once worshipped as a throne of the gods? Imagine the same solar plexus that tightens in anxiety was, for ancient civilizations, the gateway to courage, rebirth, and divine power. Could it be that what we call biology, they called sacred truth? The Egyptians believed the solar plexus was not just a cluster of nerves, it was the dwelling place of Ra, the sun god. In their hieroglyphs, the rising sun was drawn over the body's center, as if light itself was igniting from within. The scarab beetle, symbol of rebirth, was often placed over the stomach of mummies to protect the soul's transformation in the afterlife. Why there? Why at this very point? Because to them, this was not just flesh and bone, it was the furnace of the spirit. the fire that either consumes in fear or refines into courage. Travel east to the Vedic tradition, and you hear another name, Manipura, the lustrous gem. It is said to be the third chakra, burning like a golden sun at the navel. Here, according to yogic texts, rests your willpower, your sense of self, your ability to stand tall without trembling. They taught that fear hides in this fire, but when the fire is awakened, fear dissolves like mist at sunrise. Rituals of fire, yajnas, were not just outer offerings. They mirrored the fire inside, where fear was fed into the flames so the soul could shine clearer. When you breathe deeply into your belly, the Vedas whispered, you are stoking that fire, reminding yourself that your essence is not fear, it is light. The Greeks, too, carried this mystery. They called it thymos, the spirited energy, the breath of courage that rose from the belly. For them, a warrior's strength was not only in muscle, but in the unseen fire within. Homer writes of heroes who fought with thymos blazing, meaning their inner solar fire guided them. Roman gladiators were told before battle, do not fear the sword, ignite the fire in your belly, and death itself will step aside. Was this just metaphor? Or did they know the same secret, that fear hides in the stomach and power is born from its release? Even in mystical Christianity and Kabbalah, this solar region was not ignored. Kabbalists mapped the tree of life and found at its heart Tiferet, the sphere of beauty, harmony, and balance, mystically aligned with the solar plexus. It was seen as the meeting place of divine love and human struggle. Christian mystics, too, spoke of the lower demons of the stomach, a symbolic way of describing the fears and desires that twist inside us. But when grace entered, these demons were burned away, leaving the soul calm and fearless. Was this a spiritual way of describing the very experience of fear release in the solar plexus? Cross into shamanic and indigenous traditions, and the story repeats with another voice. Shamans of the Americas described the gut as the seat of spirit courage. They pressed, sang, and drummed over the stomach to release hidden fears before initiations. In rituals, the fire they built in circles was said to mirror the fire inside each participant. Feed the fire your fear, they would chant, urging people to place stones or herbs into flames as symbolic offerings. Again, the solar plexus was not ignored. It was honored as a sacred portal. From Egypt to India, from Greece to the desert monasteries, from shamans to philosophers, the pattern is too clear. Every culture, though divided by oceans and centuries, placed extraordinary meaning on this same point in the body. They did not call it nerves or plexus. They called it throne, gem, fire, or gate. And every name pointed to one truth. Fear can live here, but so can power. So I ask you, do you believe all these civilizations simply imagined the same thing by accident? Or were they all seeing one universal truth about human energy that modern science is only beginning to confirm? As you sit with this thought, notice what your own solar plexus feels like right now. Is it heavy? Is it tight? Or is it glowing even faintly? Remember, they all believed this was not just flesh. It was a threshold, a choice, fear or light, weakness or power. And perhaps that is why they left us these blueprints, not as myths to entertain, but as maps to remember who we really are. Maps that can still be followed today. And in the next step of our journey, we'll explore exactly how this ancient wisdom transforms into daily practice, how you can awaken this center and release the fear that has long been buried within you. Every ancient tradition we explored whispered the same truth. A blueprint is only alive when practiced. A sacred scroll means nothing if it stays on the shelf. A map is powerless if never walked. Your solar plexus, the fire at the center of your being, responds not to theory, but to touch, to breath, to presence. Even 1 minute a day can change the rhythm of your nervous system. Imagine beginning each morning by simply placing your hand over your solar plexus. No rush, no pressure, just a gentle awareness. Inhale slowly, let your belly rise. Exhale and picture the weight of old fear dissolving into smoke. Do this 3 times, and you have already shifted the story your body tells itself for the rest of the day. At night, before sleep, you can return to the same point. Rest your fingertips lightly, almost like whispering to your own body. Let the muscles soften. Feel the warmth that begins to build beneath your skin. With each breath out, tell yourself quietly, I am safe. I am light. Fear does not own me. These words are not magic spells, but your nervous system responds to the truth behind them. Science shows us that this simple ritual activates the parasympathetic state, the body's natural brake system. Stress hormones begin to settle, the heartbeat slows, the breath deepens. Mystics describe the same thing differently. They call it the inner flame, the fire that purifies shadows and awakens courage. Whether you believe in neurons or in sacred fire, both speak of the same shift. Consistency is the secret. Just as a flame grows steadier when tended daily, your own inner fire becomes unshakable with practice. Over weeks and months, you may notice fewer sudden spikes of fear, a calmer mind when storms rise, and an intuition that speaks more clearly from the depths of your gut. What once felt like a flicker, fragile and unstable, transforms into a steady sun within. Now pause and ask yourself, what fear are you ready to feed into this fire today? Let the comments below be your quiet declaration. Share what arises, because naming a fear is the first step in releasing it. This practice is not the end. It is the beginning of a new way of carrying yourself through the world. In the closing moments ahead, we will open the final door, one that connects this small daily ritual to the larger journey of your spirit. What you touched today was not just skin, not just muscle, not just a nerve ending. It was a doorway, a gateway that connects the science of your body to the mystery of your spirit. You have walked through a journey from hidden fear buried deep in your gut to the light of awareness to the practice of daily ritual. And in that movement, something subtle has already shifted. You are no longer the same as when you pressed play. Science would tell you that by placing your hand on the solar plexus, by breathing deeply and consciously, you calmed your vagus nerve, softened your cortisol levels, reset the ancient circuitry of fight and flight. Spirit would tell you that you touched the fire of Ra, the flame of Manipura, the sun that dissolves shadows. Both are true. Both are speaking the same language in different tongues. What you felt was your own nervous system awakening as a temple, your own breath becoming scripture. Now imagine 6 months from this moment. You are in a room that once filled you with unease, yet you feel steady. Your voice does not tremble when you speak the truth that matters. Fear comes knocking, but you feel the golden flame within your belly say, "Not today." You walk through the world lighter, not because fear disappeared, but because fear no longer drives. A sun has been lit inside you, guiding each step, illuminating even the darkest corridors. This is the life beyond fear. This is what daily practice can weave into your body. It does not demand hours of devotion, only minutes of presence. Each morning, touch your solar plexus, breathe, awaken the fire. Each night, rest your hand upon your belly, release the day, whisper your affirmation, I am safe. I am light. Fear does not own me. Repeat, 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 until repetition becomes transformation. Fear will still appear, but you will no longer be its servant, and this is only the beginning. There are more gateways in your body, more hidden points that ancient traditions once guarded, that science now rediscovers. If you felt power here, imagine the shift when you touch the quiet point near your heart that awakens compassion, or the subtle point near your neck that unlocks your nervous system's deepest calm. Those are the doors we will open next. For now, I invite you to let this practice ripple outward. If the flame spoke to you today, let it spread. Whisper your yes by subscribing. Share this light with one soul who still walks under the weight of hidden fear. And pause to answer this in the comments. What fear are you ready to transform into light? Naming it is the first step in releasing it. Until we meet again, may your breath be steady, may your fire burn gentle, and may your courage shine brighter than fear. This is the Spine Gospel. Remember, Your spine is your scripture. Your body is your temple. Keep listening.